Good. What up, party people? Come in. Oh. Yo. Oh, I gotta bring that right here. Yo, yo, what up, what up? Let me get a sound check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Can we get a mic check? Let me know you can hear me, please. Do me a favor, type something in the chat for me. What up, what up? Happy to help. Moon Goddess, what up? Appreciate you. What's happening? Julia, what's up, what's up? Appreciate it, appreciate it. What up, what up, what up, party people? Happy Tuesday. You know, I had a phenomenal Tuesday, man. It's just Tuesday. I went to a wealth conference this morning and dealing with Kevin O'Leary from the Shark Tank. Was in there dropping quick little few jewels. They really used him as the keynote speaker to bring all the people in, but unbeknownst to me, it was really a real estate upsell that it was doing. The upsells when you go to these free events, and then they offer you, you know, they upsell you to, you know, something more premium. Man, I'm so glad I'm in the right space at the right time. And so that's today's conversation real fast. Is Saturn, right? Again, I done another one on Saturn on this thing, but I can't stress enough how this planet is known as the Great Malefic. If you start studying the cosmic science of astrology, the zodiac, you will hear that Saturn, he gets the bad rap. He's the boogeyman. He's Satan. It's literally where they got that from. He's depression, limitations, fear, restrictions, karma, death even. It's a very dark energy. Its color is black. Its metal is lead. And it's grueling. And you hear about the Saturn return when you're about 28 to 30 years old on average. Saturn makes one full circle. All right, peace. Brand new, beautiful. Peace, peace, hidden. Peace, Randy. Kia, what's happening? And so it makes one full revolution in 28 to 30 years on average. So, you know, the Saturn return is a point in our lives, 28 to 30, where we grow up. It's one of our first, hey, what's up, Fatima? That's one of the first checkup points that you have, because it's like, you're not a little kid no more, you're 30. So what I like to tell people to do is, for those of you who have went over that, you know, that 30 mark, when you've experienced this, to go back and reflect and think about your life at 30 years old, 28 to 30, and see if there was any ground breaking, you know, or, you know, major shifts in your life. It's usually a time that denotes, hey, it's time to grow up. But this is the key with it, though. It's not the planet. This is Saturn's one of the best teachers of this. It's the decisions that we made. Peace, San Diego. What's happening? All right. You know, it's the decisions that we made prior to 28, 30 years old that just come to a particular boiling point that makes you reflect like, I'm 30 years old, I'm still at my mama's house, I'm still playing video games. Like you just, it's like you're growing. And so in hip hop, on this channel, if you're new to this channel, go to the playlist. I always say it's celebrity news and celebrity deaths. And check out Meek Mill had a good one. When Meek Mill was interviewed, I think by Angie Martinez, if I'm not mistaken, he was talking about like, I'm 30, I just about to chill out on on the jury and stuff and buy some houses. Like, there's this shift that kicks in because you're 30. Next thing you know, you're 40. You know what I mean? And so I'm gonna answer that for you, Q-Passo. So then Seven Streeter is another one. And she was talking about how she was going through this depression and this breakups and everything around her felt like your world is coming to an end per se. And I showed how she was, when she said that, I was showing she was going right through the Saturn return. All right? And so, Q-Passo, to answer that question, we have to first understand, historically speaking, that the theologies and mythologies, especially the Greek, Roman as well, Egyptian for that matter, they styled cosmic principles, whether it's Ra is the sun god in Egypt, whether it's Apollo in Greek, right? They styled these cosmic forces and gave them personifications. And then they started to tell stories, right? So yes, we got some winners. Absolutely, we got some winners. So they started personifying them. All right, and so that's a fact, right? That they personified these cosmic forces. So then when you start looking at the basic etymology of Saturn and Satan, and then inside of the Christian mythos, meaning the theology of the story, as it pertains to human consciousness, let's be clear. On the external level, they were saying the Son of God had to battle Satan. And in your cosmic universe that you live in, your life-giving force is the sun. That's your life giver. Without it, it's bye-bye. And the furthest thing that you can see with the naked eye, if Saturn is visible at nighttime, is Saturn. It looks like a star. You can't see no planet past Saturn. Saturn is the gatekeeper. Anything past him you cannot see. You need telescope, Jack. You can't see it. So he is the last of the Mohicans, the ring, the Lord of the Ring, to let you know that he serves as the gatekeeper before you can journey out into, technically, these higher planes of consciousness, i.e. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. These different states of consciousness within you are more of a spiritual nature, in a sense. Imagination, flashes of intuition, psychic ability, the power to transform and heal. Those are those three planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. But Saturn says, you can't see past me. You have to deal with me before you want to get out there in the loftier subjects. Very interesting. Because, as I said before, when you start to study the seasonal energy of where you live at, the springtime, the nature blossoms, it blooms. So we said, oh snap, we got more sunlight than we have nighttime hours. Remember, Saturn's energy is black. It's cold. The sun energy is hot, warm. yellows and oranges, right? It's the complete opposite. And so when we get to the spring equinox, March 21st, March 22nd, the next day we have more daylight. The sun has risen again. This is why shortly thereafter, we're about to get into this whole Passover and Easter. What is Passover? Passover is when the sun has passed over the ecliptic. Okay? So now we have more sunlight. The sun has returned. This is your life-giving force in the spring. In the summer, first day of Cancer, the sun is considered to be at its highest peak. The sun, fire, summer is hot. Okay? So this is the battle of the sun and Satan, coldness. So then when we get to the fall equinox that just passed, the ancients noted that Saturn in Libra denotes that, hey, this is a very strong placement right here. But nature is starting to regress for us that's north of the equator. The leaves are falling down right now. It's cold. I just turned on the furnace for the first time 2 days ago. Like, okay, no more AC. It's time to kick the furnace on, right? And so nature's regressing. Saturn does well here. In 3 months from now, because we in October, we're going to be close to Christmas. Winter season starts. That's Capricorn season. So when it's Capricorn season, then it's Saturn season. Well, shit, it's cold. But this is where old man winter, notice Saturn's energy is also known as old age. Okay? And so this is a cosmic force that's outside of you, but it's only a mirror of your own self. We got to really, really understand that. And you have to really understand that shit. Because if you don't, you'll be lost. You'll be lost. You would keep on thinking that just because the sun is hot and it's hot outside, and we're going to say that it's hot outside because of the sun, if that's our thinking, then the sun made me go put on some shorts. Did it make you put on some shorts, or was it just best expressed if you put on some shorts right now based upon the season? So it may offer a suggestion, but you have to agree. Bare minimum, because it is an external body. So since it's an external body that has its own chemical and physical compositions, it's spinning, which is energy in motion, and we are all inside of the same solar system, then these waves of energy, just like you got magnetic waves, cell phone waves, radio waves, all microwaves, all kind of waves right now that is passing by us, right? Then you got cosmic waves as well. So we're not going to ignore that fact. But the wave in of itself can't make you do anything. You have to make a choice. Okay? So free will is everything in this thing. And so the choices that we make shows us the results, right? Cause and effect thing. So then therefore, again, Saturn being the one that says, okay, my energy is about responsibility. Let's look at the hot side of it. Because all energy have a duality, all of them. You would have a negative pole and a positive pole. That's energy period, though. That's why I told you this whole thing is like a battery. It's a positive pole and what we call a grounding pole, right? And so Saturn's other side is hard work, responsibility, and discipline. He's also known as Father Time as well. That's very, 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 very interesting. Because oftentimes I see, and I was just watching, what was I watching? I was watching Black Ink Chicago Crew, right? And Charmaine said it, like CP time. You know what I mean? Like color people time. We all heard that saying before. And it is absolutely like, that's like the worst thing you can ever do. We justify being late untimely and not on point, and we call it CP time. And it's not cool because you can't give me no accurate stuff with that. If I be like, yo, meet me at the spot at CP time, you don't know when I'm pulling up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just don't know. But we justify that as if it's cool, and that's a lack of responsibility, which is just that Saturn principle. So when you do that, then the negative things that come with that, restrictions, access denied, then you wonder why you can't get the part or you can't advance because you got there too late. You wasn't being responsible, right? You ever miss something? You ever miss a deadline because you just wasn't responsible, right? So these things are different mirrors of our own consciousness, and what's going to help us become more successful, especially on this plane, because this is Earth. Saturn's energy rules Capricorn, which is the last Earth sign. Let me explain that. Well, the zodiac starts in Aries, they say. So Taurus is the first Earth sign, Virgo is the second, and then Capricorn is the last Earth sign. So therefore, Capricorn is the ultimate expression when we go in zodiacal order of the Earth energies. This is also denoted as the southern portion in the sky, known as the 10th house, or known as your midhaven, which is your career point. This shows you where you're going to be successful at. Your ambition. Also show you your father as well. Okay? But you must be responsible here. You must work hard here. I always say it, the best personification of Capricorn energy, bar none, is Keisha Kayor. Bar none. That's the perfect example of what Capricorn looked like. You don't know her, that's Gucci Mane's wife, right? Talking about a grinder. Okay? So Saturn's energy is symbolized by that mountain goat. Yeah, I've seen mountain goats before. They're like, how the hell did you climb that? They literally scale the mountain, man, and on a vertical incline and get to the very top. That's a skill. That's the earth energy of taking your time. You live in the material world, okay? So this is a part of our psyche that we absolutely have to master. And it's about knowing where you are going and being very consistent, because Saturn represents repetition over and over and over and over again. And I know through years of coaching, observing, that we struggle with this principle. Therefore, that's why I said Saturn is Satan inside of you. The part of you that says, I'm not going to do it today. I'll make up for it. Because remember, its energy represents restriction. Also, you could be lethargic because it's cold and it suppresses. So you're not, we don't want to do hard stuff. Nobody wants to do hard stuff. We want to do easy stuff, right? We don't want to do hard stuff. We don't want to grind. We don't want to go the long term. We want to get fixed, money mantra, money instant manifestation. Let me do that. But you suck at that. And that's not changing your life. Sure, you're going to get correspondences. Absolutely. You can make some things manifest. I always say it. It's a known phenomenon in the book, The Autobiography of a Yogi, where you had saints who studied all of their life, man, who can make perfume scents come out their hand. What do you like to smell? You would like to smell jasmine? Next thing you know, you smell jasmine. Would you like to smell rose? Next thing you smell rose. That person got into a whole nother part of the stream of consciousness. It can be done. You can think about something consistently and some things materialize. The book got some crazy stories in it. Shit appearing and shit disappearing. It's very possible. But if you're going to live that path, then just go ahead and be a 100% mystic, because you're dependent upon your mystical abilities to do it. And it can be done. It can be done. But that's going to take Saturn, repetition, and constant dedication to get to that mental abode to be able to make these things pop up like clockwork when you need it to. That's the key, when you need it. But the truth is, a lot of us have physical suppressed ambitions, and we need to dust them off. We need to dust those off and put on that good old Saturn cap and man that shit. Man that shit. Take responsibility for it. Chip away at it. Because if you truly understand what the end result is of said vehicle, it actually becomes fun, even if it's the job that is just the stepping stone to get you to the next phase. It's fun because you know that, you know, stacking $300 a month don't sound like a lot of money. But if I can consistently do that, $3,600 a year, and then I can make that $3,600 bring me a 10% return within the next year, and I can always do that for 35 years, right? Then I could make myself become, is it 35 years? I think it's 35. I'm not mistaken. You can save yourself up to $1 million, but that 10% return must accumulate. It's compound interest. The financial players of the world, the winners, the financially wealthy people, have this Saturn principle down freaking pat. So when I went back and I studied Jay-Z, Oprah, and Birdman, those three specifically, during their Saturn returns, and I go look at the contracts that they signed around that time, they were getting started on, they was catching some nice financial breaks that was getting them to the next plateau. Because the energy represents crystallization in form, structure. See, Neptune is your imagination. Saturn is, I'm going to put form to it. Now, for me, I was born with the easiest placements between these two. It's called a trine. I'm that generation that has Neptune and Sagittarius. So it's a 14-year group of people who were born with that. And then there's a 2.5-year window of people who will have Saturn and Leo. So these, for me, in fact, then I got Venus and Aries. So it forms a triangle, just like this. Venus is at the top, and then I have Saturn right here, and then I have Neptune right here, and they form this grand trine, throw up this rock, and it was called a grand fire trine. So it's easy for me not to stay in my head, i.e. the imagination, and be able to put some type of practicality to it. Saturn, formation. So I can go astrology, and then I can show you how to implement it. I can go imagination, and then show you how to implement it. Then I can go, as this pertains to my goals. Oh, snap, I got Jupiter, the planet of abundance, in Taurus. Money. In the 11th house, groups of friends. So my friends, and we can put groups together, and we all can become abundant together with the goal. And that'll be successful because Jupiter represents the abundant factor. So I understand that. So since I understand that, I'm going to do that. You see what I'm saying? Saturn in the second denotes that, yo, what are you doing ignoring finances? How did you do that? Because I was so Neptunian, I ignored it. Oh, we can't do that. You got to get on it. Be responsible. Once you get on it and get on it, find your venue with it, then it will start to materialize and crystallize. That's Saturn. Okay? So Saturn is God on one side and the devil on the other side. It is the famous scripture that says, hey, I create evil and I create good. It's actually the other way around. I create good and evil. So I'll share this story, then I'll take some questions with you, because the book of Job is like one of my favorite books, man. It's so much astral game in the book of Job. You know, they talk about constellations in the book of Job, Pleiades and stuff like that. Like that's the Starman's book. And so what's happening is the book of Job starts off very, 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 very interesting. The authors wanted us to understand something. So I wish I had the scripture with me, right? That Bible right there. That Bible right. Hold on, let me get it, because this is interesting. We're gonna have church in these streets, as Jeezy would say. Let me find which one I'm gonna find. Let me get the Tanakh out, man. Let me get the Tanakh. Where is the book of Job? Oh, don't worry, I ain't gonna do the Hebrew Israelite on you. Psalms 18, and the Lord said, we ain't gonna do that. They be snapping out, man. They be snapping out. But what we gonna do is, hold on. Proverbs got some game too. Hold on, y'all. We gonna go to church. Hey, y'all got a Bible? Go pull out your Bible. Don't throw the Bible away. The Bible got some game. And if you don't know, 1657, and if you don't know, we got a membership over on theimaginationguru.com called Quantum Scriptures. Go to memberships, and we talk about how the scriptures are actually allegorical states of human awareness. Phases that you go through. We all been through the Illuminati phase. That's phase one. We've been through the conspiracy phase. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the shock of initiation. We go through these different states. Then you go get your altars, candles, and shit. Then you go get your rocks. You go through that. You know, you go through these various stages. But all of these things are just to help you fine-tune your own point of concentration. Ceremony is for you to use your concentration in an intense manner. So if I set the mood, like it's so much better and romantic, right? If we dim the lights, do candles, maybe rose petals or whatever, essential oil game going, massage oil going. It's the environment is like more seductive versus just coming in and going in a dirty motel with the fan on the side, right? That can be nice too. All right. So these things, these phases are just different point stages of consciousness that we go through. That's what all these personifications called characters and people and places represent. Okay. Because we all know it's allegorical. We need to understand what is the allegory talking about. All right. So the book of Job says, all right. It was interesting. On the day the divine beings presented themselves before the Lord, and the adversary came along with them, which is Satan. The Lord said to the adversary, "Where have you been?" You need to tell me that you finally got this nigga, the devil, in your scope where you can pop him and grab him and contain him and kill him and rid the earth of him. You gonna ask this nigga where you been? For real? That's what you want? Cool. Why? Because there's much wisdom in it. So you know the devil answers, "Hey man, I've been from here, there, minding my business." So then the God is like, "Hey man, you seen my servant named Job? He's a loyal dude, man. And I need you to do me a favor. I need you to test this nigga and see if he gonna be loyal to me." Right? Now, there's a lot of questions that should be popping off in your head. Because you God, you're supposed to know this. But see, now it's not for you to know as the God. It's for the individual to know through the trial and tribulations of what the game is. Okay? So Job had 3 daughters who were born to him, who had 7,000 sheep, 3,000, 3,000 camels and all this. And then he had 7 sons. And each son had a festival for the day of the week. Oh, yes, it says that. The book says that. So wait a minute. So each son had his own feast. So you had the son named Monday, the son named Sunday, Tuesday. So these are the 7 sons. And the 3 daughters would go inside of their house for the festival each week. Okay? Interesting. Because in Hebrew, you can Google image this right now. 7 double letters. There are 22 letters in Hebrew. 7 of them are called the double letters, and they correspond to planets. 12 of them are called the single letters and correspond to the zodiac signs. That means it's only 3 left, and those are called the mother letters, hence 3 daughters. And I'm not making this up. These 3 letters are called mother letters, okay? And they correspond to Aleph is air, Mem is water, Shin is fire. Now, why are they calling these 3 letters mothers? Because when you understand the cosmic principle of what's taking place, the 12 letters is 12 zodiac signs. Signs are ruled by planets. Then the 7 planets are the 7 letters, but each planet and sign are both made up of composition and energy, which are the 3 mothers. This is why when you understand light, everything that you can see within the color spectrum, all colors come from the 3 primary colors. Google that. 3 primary colors. Red, yellow, blue. Okay? Facts. In art, it's red, green, and blue. Okay? And so the 3 Hebrew mother letters are really talking about the 3 bands of energy that creates everything that's visible. This is why in the Chinese philosophy, they have the 3 pure ones later to personify themselves as the Migos. Shout out to the Migos. Right? Real talk. Okay? And so these 3 daughters in the book of Job are going inside of these brothers' houses because it's showing you that the planetary bodies are made up of energy at the core. Okay? Gotta understand that. All right. So then later, this deal happens, and the devil's like, listen, man, I'm gonna make this dude rebuke you. And God's like, do what you want to do with him, just don't kill him. But do what you gonna do. So the devil gets to work. Like, man, we about to kill this nigga sheep. We about to hit him with some boils on his skin. We about to thrash this dude. Right? Let me see if I can find it. Okay? Hold on, let me see. Hold on. Because it happened. All right? Because something happened, man. There's something happened. And I'm going to paraphrase here. So Job, let me see. I'm trying to find it. Let me see. So Job gets hit with everything, with all the calamity, right? And Job's wife says something. She says, don't curse God, right? And Job had to check her. He was like, woman, you sound like a fool. The good comes from God and the evil. That's what it said. And then the book clearly says, for all, let me see if I can find it. For all that he said, Job did not sin, nor did he reproach on God. That's what it said. And another thing that Job did when he first got hit, right? Let me see if I can find it. Check out what he said. Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thee. The Lord has given, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord, right? Another scripture says he rebuked the day that he was born. All right? Another translation says, yo, this dude rebukes the day that he was born. So now you denouncing your birthday. What do the day that you were born and you coming out your mother's womb got to do with anything, man? They were showing you in this book, don't make the external science of astrology your God. It is all God, but that is not the God. That is only a measurement of God. It is the perfect system to be able to measure the future and say, this is here, this equals this equals that. And when they're in this combination, 2020, we're likely to see major transformation happen within government. Because Saturn and Pluto will align in Capricorn, and Jupiter as well will get there. And when these energies come together, especially Saturn and Pluto, the world players who have been the biggest players of their time usually comes to some type of transformational ending. So when you get to the eve of it, because Saturn's in Capricorn now, Pluto been in Capricorn for some years now. When you get to the eve of it, the precursor is, oh shit, a lot of people don't like Donald Trump. This has the perfect scenario that is set in the stage for something very volatile. Because everybody is on edge about race and racism, right? So this tool is a tool of measurement. But human beings have the ability to make decisions. So it's back to the Matrix. What color pill do you want? You want the red one or do you want the blue one? What choice are we going to make? That's going to determine if we're going to play out the positive polarity or the negative polarity. The planets are just there to sit there as recording devices. They tell you the moon is a satellite. It's a recording device. Space is intelligent, very intelligent. It's so intelligent that you call it the four seasons. That's how intelligent it is. You can measure it now and say, oh, I know it's going to be warm in June. Prices for hotels go up. Everybody's coming down here for the summer. Prices go up. Oh, we're a winter location, Poconos. Oh, prices go up. You want to come up here and ski? Okay, prices go up. Because I can measure the season now. So this science is a science of measurement. So Job's whole thing was, hey, the evil is from God. And the good is from God too. Wife, understand that. All right? He had to tell his wife that. Real story. You can read it in the book of Job. It's right there. All right? So the energies are a coin. You are the coin. Stop falling for the heads and tails, man. Just be. If we knew what that meant, if we knew how to do that as humanity. All right. So Saturn is the aspect of us that we absolutely must master because that is your biggest adversary. It is something inside of you that do not want to take responsibility. And we see it play out. Can you really say anything? And by the way, my brother Minister Jew is doing a webinar this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Go to theimaginationguru.com, shop webinars, only $21, called The Curious Case of Kanye West. Private webinar is going to be the best information dealing with this whole Kanye West thing. We talking it from a whole nother angle. But my point with that was this. Because we talking that Saturn, when you start studying the esoteric aspect that each planet represents a metal, Mars is iron, Jupiter is tin, Saturn is lead, the sun is gold, the moon is silver, right? Venus is copper. This is some ancient stuff that's been recorded already. When you're dealing with lead, you're dealing with Saturn. Right? Okay. Well, didn't you just have lead water somewhere? In Flint, right? So instead of us taking responsibility and being like, yo, let's all put the call out, Puff, since Puff got like Revolt TV. So that's why I'm just using him as an example, right? Charlemagne the God. You know, like we reach millions of people in an instant, right? We can say, hey man, listen, we got the Flint Water Fund and we need everybody to contribute 50 cents. Less than that if everybody do it, right? But let's just say $1, right? So it's nothing to get 30 mil, whatever. But this is the key though. We're going to hire our own infrastructure team to go in here and say, yo, if the water is messed up, the water is messed up due to the pipes and the lead, then let's change that out and what it's going to cost to change that to, I don't know, PEX lines, you know what I'm saying, or PC valves, what we call it as well. What it's going to cost to change that? So this company says, listen, we going to do it. You can find what you want to call a minority company to do it or people who can bid on it like they do in construction and say, you know what, we can get it done for 20 mil. Some of these cats, they ain't nothing, right? But collectively, because it's just not on them, it's on humanity. This is the age of Aquarius. Remember, Saturn in ancient time rules Aquarius. So it just ain't Capricorn. Saturn in the ancient time says, listen, Aquarian, you can be Bob Marley revolutionary. You can be Huey P. Newton with the shotgun revolutionary. You can be Abe Lincoln, who caught a bullet to the back of the dome and lost his life, revolutionary, right? You can be Aquarius revolutionary, but that revolutionary thing has to take form and structure and do what's best for the people. So we live in a place that is predicated and prides itself off of we the people. The people is Aquarian-like. The collective rules. Okay? So Saturn rules it. So it's the people have to give that call and come together and say, yo, we got the money to fix Flint and the whole infrastructure. Versus just pulling up and you buy a truckload full of Deer Park water. Like, what's that going to do? Still people that's still boiling water right now. Change the infrastructure because we got the ability to. But instead of doing that, we complain about the man and then we blame the government like, y'all ain't doing nothing about the water when we got the ability to fix it ourselves. You see what I'm saying? That's the part of Saturn that says, when do we become responsible for ourselves? The illest trick that's not too far from us in history. I'm gonna tell you what the problem is, because we talk about Saturn, and Saturn deals with government structure, success, and the things that hinder us, because Saturn represents restriction, and it represents fear. You're scared, man. You're scared to death. I understand why you're scared to death, man. Because guess what? That's why I don't smoke weed all the time, because I get fucking scared too if I keep it a buck with you. And what I mean by that is that post-traumatic slave syndrome that we got kicks on because we were slaves 200 plus years ago. Civil rights era, Jim Crow of the 60s kick in. I mean, I'm telling you, man, from 1600 to 1865 slavery, from 1865 to 1968, 103 years later, Martin Luther King is dead. So as soon as slavery ended, only 100 years passed, and Martin Luther King is dead. German Shepherds getting sick on you, and the whole nine down south. Okay, so now we in the 60s, right? Bring it up to the 70s. Shit, I'm born in the 70s, so I'm right here now. Now you got the party era, the disco era, and all that type of stuff, right? But you still got what I would call the Mike Brown era, right? It's the Trayvon Martin era with Justice Ain't Served, the Sandra Bland era, right? So you still see what we would call injustices from government, from unfair sentencing, and we don't see, which I'm hoping Kanye puts on the table, since he's the only one that got the balls to go into the boogeyman house, okay? So-called boogeyman. We live in a world where we see, it's just a simple guideline. If an officer kills anybody, no matter the color, anybody, and that officer life was not threatened, meaning the person wasn't squabbing them and mobbing them and beating them and pulling out a pistol and popping at their ass, if it wasn't none of that, no pistol around, no squabbing and mobbing them, and you kill them, you're automatically getting life in prison. It is a mandate. It is mandatory. No negotiation, period. Ain't no involuntary manslaughter. Ain't none of that. You kill, and you wouldn't like your life wasn't threatened, life. And be lucky you're not getting killed, but life. All right. So since we don't live in that kind of situation, then when we look out to the Mike Brown, Sandra Bland's, and all that, rest in peace, you know what I'm saying? That reinforces the old Confederate behavior. I gotta say that because that's what it is. It reinforces the old Confederate behavior. You see what I'm saying? So when Black Wall Street gets burned down, when Dr. Malachi York gets swooped on not too long ago, these are things that are like not too far from us, right? So it's like, oh shit, they'll do it again. So it keeps the they relative. What we have to understand that has taken place inside of this country is there are two forces within nature, period. There's two forces. You can call it, the Chinese call it yin yang, man. If you want to quantify that and break it down and call it the sun and Saturn, male and female, up, down, cold, hot, left, right, north, south, east, west, no matter how you want to quantify it, God, devil, okay, there's two forces that's at work. The righteous and unrighteous, no matter how you want to do it. And what took place on this soil is either union, the red, white, and blue. The white is the peace treaty, man. All right, you know what it is. The red, white, and blue, Union or Confederate. These are two ideologies, especially as it deals with the black and white issue. Here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. The United States of America is absolutely, entirely too merciful. It is a place where you can say, fuck the president. It is the place where you can make videos of shooting a lookalike of the leader. Go to China and do that shit and watch you get your behind literally lashed. You're going to get whipped with something. You're going to get a beat down. This is the place of complete freedoms where you can exercise such if you want to. Now, if it appears to be a threat, they may send somebody to look into it, but you can say it ain't nothing going to happen until you actually get out of pocket. That's very interesting because this is true. So within that compassion of what took place, because we're talking about formation, man. Saturn is formation. So when Beyonce came to give you formation, trust me, was you forming something. The United States government allowed, to this day, a member state called Mississippi still has the Confederate flag in the upper left-hand corner of their state flag. Now, when my general was around, you couldn't fly that around. That wasn't happening. That wasn't happening. When William Tecumseh Sherman, General Ulysses Grant, Schofield, when them soldiers was around, you couldn't fly that flag. That was a no-no. That means you an enemy combatant. But being merciful, I don't want no more bloodshed. As long as you don't have no slaves, we good. But then they fought back with Jim Crow, right? Our problem is we can't see it, so then we call it, we attribute the pain to somebody else who needs to clean it up. And that person do need to clean it up because the United States of America has, as we know, Confederate states still. That's the problem. And when this behavior spills out, it triggers that post-traumatic stress syndrome, slave syndrome that we have, and then it inhibits, prevents the negative aspect of Saturn, us from having the basic common decency to say, yo, we can hire our own engineering firm and fix the water in Flint, Michigan, our goddamn selves. We lack the basic common sense. Man, they privatizing the prison. Good. Buy one. Put your curriculum in it. You want things to be privatized. This is the realm of free enterprise. Create the enterprise in the sector that you saying is a problem. Bring the solution and everybody's going to come to you. It's the basics of economics, right? I got a product. I only have a product and a service because it provides a solution. People only buy something because it provides a solution. I need paper towels to wipe up. I need water to drink. I want to read the Bible. I buy a Bible. I need a phone charger. I need a stand for the phone. You buy something because it solves a problem. Need new shoes. I want something to eat. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. Whatever. Every single transaction solves a problem. I got the munchies. I'm going to get some donuts. Every single transaction solves a problem. So we rather cry about private prisons because guess what? Saturn represents that restriction and justice and government and time. When you get in trouble, you go sit down for time. Go to timeout. It's a Saturn I'm talking about. But we have to take the responsibility and say, well, shit. Maybe it's a good thing that the government and states don't have a stronghold on the federal or on the prison joint. That means that we can create a business right now and go buy a place and contract with the state and say, hey, we want these inmates to come over here. Oh, I would love that. Wouldn't that be so beautiful? The Nation of Islam in a men's prison. And, you know, shit, we use them for everything else. Hey, I need security, so I need a nigga with a bow tie. I need a brother with a bow tie because I need security. Man, if you don't, man, you're so afraid of yourself. You always got security for your own people. You know why? Because your own people be the ones that do you. Get your hand out my pocket, nigga. We know what this is. Fear. The negative aspect of your Saturn consciousness. The fear that stops us from winning. Not fully realizing that shit, we winning. We winning. Anytime I look out into the landscape and I'm starting to see, oh, whoa. Sprint, you gave Jay-Z how much just to put for them to put the title on, you know, put the brand, the service on your phone first. You know what I'm saying? Like, give them how much money to do that? Adidas, you did what with Kanye? For what? Nike, you helped Jordan in the beginning and Jordan get all his stuff, and now you're doing what with Assad and DJ Khaled? Like, when you start looking around, you see all this success. And ain't nobody stopping nobody from doing nothing no more, man. And if it is, what you gonna do about it? Like, I swear to God, for real, I want somebody, government, to raise the Confederate flag and say, this is in control again, and you niggas is in trouble. Because now we can get down to the nitty gritty of things and we ain't gotta play no more games. What side you on? What side you on? That's the conversation. That's the conversation. But see, I made a video a little while back and I told you the priesthood at work. Y'all better get to this webinar coming up this Thursday with Minister Jew on this Kanye West thing. I made a video showing you cosmic suggestions, putting stuff in the ether, and then the key players are playing out the parts. Showed you that. Get to this webinar. We ain't talking about no Kanye West is cooning, and that's girly talk. That's average peon talk. Just to be talking. We ain't talking about that. We talking about the fact that, yo, you really paying attention and you see that this dude went to a high school called Polaris High School, and Polaris is actually the star that got slaves free when they was down south and they had to look at the North Star. The North Star was Polaris, and that's how they got their freedom. And that star sits in a constellation known as the Little Dipper, known as the Little Bear. And then Kanye West also comes out with this teddy bear mascot. Get the hell out of here. That's something else that's coming through. That's a transmission from the God itself. Man, you know what gets me with you people? Swear up and down you believe in God, and you don't question the fact of why God allowed Donald Trump to be president. You don't question the wisdom and get the understanding of why God will allow Kanye to be a catalyst, and you getting confused on the simple shit, and then you going against it and speaking against it, but you never once go to your God and explain the wisdom of why it's ordained to be what it is right now for your reality. What's the purpose? You know why? Because I'm going to tell you, the Quran nailed these niggas to the T. Nailed them. The Quran said there's 3 types of people in the world. Interesting. Interesting again, because it's only 3 bands of light that make everything a reality, man. You got the believer who really believe. You got a person who disbelieve. And they just don't believe. And they just tell you straight out. And that's what's up with them. But then you got that last group, man. It's called the hypocrites. Because these niggas right here, they say, I believe in Allah and His Prophet and in the last day. I do believe. And the Quran says, but they do not believe, and surely they do not know. And that statement right there baffles me, and I'm at awe, because it is telling you that it is a group of people on this earth that swear up and down that they believe in God, but they don't even know that they don't believe and think they do. Damn. I'm serious about this, man. This is documented in the Quran. That's a psychology of a person. They go to church, they go to masjid, they wear their jewelry, they got their cross, they get on TV, they say they will believe in God, and the man upstairs saved me from having to do this and that, and it's the man upstairs this and that. They say this shit, the man upstairs, all the time. All the time. But they don't really believe. They don't. I'm telling you. They don't. All right? I'm not answering the phone. Would you hang up? And so, this is Saturn, man. The part of you, the part of us that absolutely must take responsibility. Cut the fluff out. Stop playing. You see a problem, fix the problem, man. Fix the problem. So I decided to turn my attention towards, you know what, man? I'm not going to be sitting down here being a damn poor righteous teacher and neglecting myself and family financially and all that for the sake of truth and liberation. Get the hell out of here. That's a cop-out. That's a cop-out, man. For real. That's a cop-out. We feed ourselves these conspiracy stories and use that as a crutch and a valid excuse of why we can't attain greatness. And that's bogus. Because when you look out into the landscape of reality, it's too many people that are living their best life. Too many people. Too many people. And ain't nobody coming and taking nothing. See, again, because a couple years ago, decade or so, when the Suge Knight, who was that? Was it Suge? It was definitely J. Prince, Irv Gotti. I forget who the third person was. Between Puff or Suge. They was going to do their own distribution thing. And then everybody got hit by the feds. See, that shit is real. That shit happened. You know why? Because that's that Confederate behavior that's inside of the United States government. And what Kanye West is doing is he's starting to prime Donald Trump, the head person in charge. We need to take a look at that 13th Amendment. We need to take a look at this. And now the word is, Minister Jew tells me, Colorado said we going first. On our state laws, we still say slavery exists, not chattel slavery, but it exists in the form of when niggas get locked up, people get locked up, they're going to get 17 cents an hour. We about to do away with that. That is foul. So now you about to start seeing a ripple effect. And trust me, when it comes from out there, because it sits a mile high, its elevation is higher in the ether. Now you're going to start to see, just like you see what? Everybody is like, oh, we need recreational marijuana now. But we first going to put it under the medical umbrella, which is fine and true. And then it's going to come around and be rec now. How the hell Colorado beat LA? Niggas been smoking and growing the best weed in California forever. And Colorado beats them to the rec aspect before that. Now they go rec. Then Washington State goes rec. You see what I'm saying? So you got to learn how to get up in the ether with the thought, man. But on the physical plane, you need to get in your vehicle and you need to walk it out. It ain't no excuses playing with Saturn. When you deny your greatness and your responsibility, then you are invoking the negative aspect of your own self called circumstances. You're going to have to deal with that. Okay? So then we went, oh, the devil was testing me. Nah, man, that's you. Remember they always showed us in the cartoons? Your left brain, right brain, add that to the duality. because that's true. Left brain, right brain. One of your boobies is bigger than the other. One of the testicles is longer than the other. One of the feet is longer than the other or bigger, for sure. The duality is within yourself, man. So inside of your brain, right brain, left brain is said to have two completely different functions. So your devil and your angel is within your dome. It's you. Hence, I create good and evil. But if I go to these God asking people and say, hey man, do God create evil? Nah, brother. The devil create evil. You liar. You don't read the book because you don't read. You're too busy doing other things anyway. So it's okay that you don't read. But our problem is we opinionate stuff and we talk about shit that we don't know. That's the problem. That's the problem. Kanye West got a puppet master. How you know? He has handlers. How do you know that? Do you really know that? Or is it a hypothesis? Is it a good guess? His people sent him in here. Who? Beyonce's down with the Illuminati. How do you know that? It's a bunch of hyperbole at the end of the day. Hence, specifically in this thing that we call black consciousness ain't produced jack shit. Nothing but a bunch of confused ass niggas to keep it real with you. Ain't nobody having no store. Niggas still selling merch on the street like they on the fucking Silk Road back in the fucking early 1000s in Asia somewhere, like they merchants and shit. Right? Grown ass niggas ain't never had a car. Don't even got their own goddamn house. Just keep it real. Can't pull out motherfucking $1,000. Ain't got no property. And I'm talking about in the aspect of what we call consciousness, man. And steadily talking all this fear rhetoric, which is really keeping you in a state of lockdown. The real agents is the teachers and don't even know it. Don't even know it. I was an agent as a victim of my own, like, wait a minute. I'm not promoting and showing how to get this guap and how to proceed and be wealthy. So now I'm messed up. I'm double agent on myself. Whoa, wait a minute. That ain't right, bro. Fix that shit. God, since you God, fix it. How do you fix that? Find a vehicle and show people and share along the way. Wait till what I show y'all Friday. Oh, I got some good news coming. Oh yeah. Another one. Gonna show you something else. All right. So if you got a question, man, shoot it. That's enough of my rant. I had to get that off, man. Again, this Thursday, my brother is up, Minister Jew, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Get to theimaginationguru.com. Get to the shop tab, the webinar. He going in on Kanye West, man, on a whole nother level that you ain't never seen. I got a Hebrew class coming up. And I'm going to do a dope class for you on when is that? When is that? November 17th is a Saturday. I'm going to do a webinar called Karma and Past Lives. Oh, I'm going to show you the juice in the chart. Come with it. And then that Sunday, November the 18th, starts a 5-week class, Hebrew, the language of prosperity. You register for the class, I'll give you the Saturday webinar absolutely free as a thank you. You get the webinar free. Mark your calendars, November 17th, Saturday. That is going to be a webinar called Karma and Past Lives. Ooh-wee. I'm going to show you what the charts say. And I got some data. I should open up the book and show you. And then Sunday, November the 18th is orientation for a 5-week course, Hebrew, the language of prosperity. Why am I saying Hebrew, the language of prosperity? One, the part of the brain that deals with language also deals with numbers, which is money. So by proxy, if you expand the parietal lobe, then you're expanding the same faculty that processes money. Hello. Now, since Hebrew is read from right, from your version, right to left, okay, then you're about to start to do something totally different because you're not used to that. You're used to left to right. Let me grab this book because I'm going to pull from this book and kill this phone. Oh, my son's school. Hold on, y'all. Hello. Go up to the school. All right, which was on my list today. So since you're not used to reading in that direction, you're about to just expand consciousness. All right, now Hebrew is real dope though, y'all. Seriously, it's real dope because it's symbolic. It's a symbolic language, meaning it's like I explained earlier. Its letters correspond to certain cosmic principles. I'm not going to get into that in the class. I may, knowing me. But I'm definitely going to give you this. You're going to learn over 40 words. And it is a promise from me to you. I've done this before. I'm going to put the video up Friday. Show your testimonial. I'm going to have you reading a whole new language. Over 40 words and over 100 sentences in just 4 weeks. Promise you. First week, you're going to come in, you're going to get the alphabet. You're going to spit that alphabet real fast. Aleph, Beth, Gamil, Daleth, Hey, Vowel, Zion, Ket, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamet, Meme, Nun. You're going to run through it real fast. You're going to get that. And then, week 1, the second week, I'm going to show you about 10 vocabulary words. And then we're going to intermix these words. And then you're going to read them. And then you just read a sentence that fast in week 1. Promise you. Week 2, we keep adding on. New vocabulary words, but I'm going to pull from week 1 to introduce in your homework so as the list get bigger, okay? Bomb diggy, you'll be able to read this thing. Challenge yourself. Challenge the portions of the brain that deals with money. So that's on myastrologycoach.com. It's on the main page, myastrologycoach.com. Just scroll down. You're going to see Hebrew 4-week class. I've taught this class. Last time I taught it was 2014. So it's been a minute. And I'm about to people have been asking me about it, so as promised, it's there. Back up some on the 17th, that webinar. If you just want the webinars, myastrologycoach.com, shop tab events. Events in the webinar, right? You can't do that. How did I say you can't do that sometimes because it's be inverted? All right. So anyway, this is called Miracles Happen by Brian Weiss. Plethora of case study, man. Documented case study from an actual licensed certified psychiatrist who started regressing people through hypnosis. And these people would basically, his first case was a woman told him something about his family, told him basically about a dead son that he had. And it was impossible for this woman to know because in his office, he didn't have no pictures up and nothing personal. It was absolutely impossible for this woman to have known that information. So it's kind of like when Carl Jung got started inside of the defining synchronicity. The client that he had was talking about a beetle. And at the time that he was talking about a beetle, all of a sudden a beetle flew in the room. Okay, and so when Dr. Brian Weiss understood that this person could have not known this information, he realized at that point that basically you can get into the subconscious mind with infinite potential resides. All history, especially of you, resides. So what he started doing was he noticed that people who had issues, and I've done this, I've conducted this on a person myself. A person had issues. In this lifetime, I had a sister who had asthma. Okay, real bad. Couldn't be around smoke at all. No incense, none of that. But when we go through, I call it ART, Advanced Relaxation Technique. When you can relax yourself enough to be guided into the subconscious mind, into the soul memory, okay, you can start to see who you were and what was taking place. And if you get to that point of climax of injury or drama, you seeing it, merely seeing it deletes it. Because when you come back and you say, you know what, I saw XYZ, I saw that I was a soldier smoking cigarettes and I died in a hospital from lung cancer. Word is bond, I'm gonna get her testimonial. That's what happened to her. Seeing it deletes it. Just seeing it. I'm not talking about 21 days of a practice. I'm talking about literally successfully being guided into the subconscious mind. I might put that service back out. All right, because people do shit because they fascinated with it, and that's cool. But it's not. It's not even cool. That's why I don't even offer it. People who know me ask me about it, and I do it privately. All right, and so you have to be in a relaxed state, obviously, and whatnot. But I am going to show Saturday, November the 17th, in the webinar. Again, it's on myastrologycoach.com. Events, webinars. You're gonna see it. Past lives. And karma and past lives, I'm going to show you documented work that, some of the trauma that we carry is shit that's playing out from a previous record. I got to deal with that. I'm a spiritual guy. I got to deal with it. Okay? And oftentimes, man, when that happens, like these relationships we be in, man, them shits be playbacks. So it's so important that if we got to this particular point, because remember, Saturn is the planet of karma and also success. This is where you got to get to the point where you got to stop with the violent breakups. You got to stop with all the madness and holding in the anger and I don't forgive you type of stuff. I forgive, but I can't forget. Like, nah, you know, I feel a little sting with that. You're still salty. Stop playing with me. You're still salty. Okay? These are things that are playing back into your life that is rooted in a previous incarnation. So I'm going to show you how to spot the karmic obstacles by looking at the chart when you were born, man. This is like pretty much an astro class when you come to this particular webinar at a webinar price. You know what I mean? Like it's for the low. All right, hold on, y'all. I'm getting some important calls. 1 second. Yes. Yeah, I definitely got to go down there tomorrow. All right, so you got a question? Shoot it to me. All right. So how the hell do you do that when somebody stabs you in the back? Hard. Oh yeah, it's hard to forgive. But see, that's a good question. So how do you do that when somebody stabs you in the back? Here's the question, and it's just a question. Why was it you that got stabbed in the back? Why you? Why you? So you got two tests. There's two ways you can approach this thing. Either A, you did something in this past that warrants it, or it was in a whole nother past that warrants it. Or if it's fresh and you don't warrant it, the moment that you decide to go negative on it, you just set the laws of negativity in motion. This thing is like a big old test. Again, that's why I was in the book of Job earlier. Job told his wife, lady, good and evil is from God. I just can't accept the good and not accept the evil. That's from God too. I'm good. Bring it on. See, he wasn't playing the game of duality. Job's whole purpose was to break the illusion of duality. That's his whole purpose. That's the moral of the story. When you get caught up in the negative swing of the pendulum of what they did to you, let me tell you something, man. Don't you know when I first met my wife, right? You know what she told me? She disagreed like a mug. Not on what she told me, but on the calls, right? If you cheat on me, I'm gonna cheat on you back. Well, she'd be mad. I wish she was here. I'll tell the story. I met you and you were actually with someone, and I gave you a cool timeline and said, "Hey, you can have them. Let me just get some things in order, but it's all good." Right? When she got sugar bear, she never went back though. Right? So later, time passes, right? I jump the fence, I cheat. I ain't gonna give no reasons for it. Ain't nothing validates it. I just do. I did it. So I'm looking back and I'm like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. What if, and I'm not making no excuse, but what if the mere fact that you came with the warning primer for me already that, okay, it's possible that, you know, it's going to be an issue about this. But the point is, what if I done it because you done me? So, out of retaliation, she cheats back. Just telling the truth, man. Right? She did this. Right? Years ago. She cheats back out of retaliation. Right? So she keeps the negative pendulum swinging, man. Right? Now, I could respond and be salty and it go, you know, could. My point is, in math, there's something that's very interesting. When you have one negative, in order to neutralize it and bring the score to a 0, you got to introduce one positive. So the opposite number neutralizes the negative. You feel me? That's just to get it at 0. You got to look at this stuff like math. If you got 2 negative boo-boos and you got consistent arguments, then you got to match those with specific, you know, the same amount of good times just to to a 0, and then you got to reinforce it just to get it on the positive side. This is math. Because space is clocking the energy. Oh, you got in a fight on September 11th. Oh, you got in a fight on the 12th, the 13th, and 14th. Shit been filed for a week. All right? So then we can only go so often with good days that's all of a sudden triggered by these random events that occur to get us to go back on the negative side. It's because we got too many negative imprints in space. Okay? And so the point is, we got to become responsible and don't jump on the swing. So if somebody do something, I said it in another video before, like, yo, something happened, I'm looking and I'm like, did I ever do that? Like, I've been robbed before, at gunpoint before. But shit, a whole decade prior, I've robbed somebody at gunpoint. I've done that before. So it's like, oh, okay. Right? We always say what goes around comes around. We say that shit, man. But karma don't know no timeline. You dig? You don't care about it coming back and manifesting it years later or a lifetime later. You don't care about that. When I'm going to get into Saturday, November the 17th, dealing with karma, because that's Saturn, is actual case studies of lovers who were freaking in different types of relationships and abusive patterns. Your mama could have been your lover, an abusive lover in the past life. Or you could have been the abusive lover to her, and now you her kid that's giving you, and she gave you hell as a kid in this life. Real stories, man. Real stories. We got to go there. You got to get that kind of understanding for your soul. Because if Tina Marie said it, don't you know if your heart is full of sin, the anger, the unresolved things, don't you know when you die, you will come back again? and I always say it, the United States of America is a dangerous place for reincarnation because this is not the place that currently has the spiritual educational model to explain the karmic phenomenon. We always usually undergo some point of pain, suffering, abuse, and trauma to make us reflect, to look inward. I call it the Detroit Red. Go to jail, become Malcolm X. It took Malcolm to go to jail and have a vision to make a transformation from Detroit Red to Malcolm X. This ain't India, man. This ain't China, man, where they got that understanding already. So when you incarnate here, trouble and pain is what wakes you up. Okay? So we're going to get into some good stuff. Again, the dates, November 17th, myastrologycoach.com. All right, you got a question, shoot it to me. Events tab, webinars, karma and past lives. I'm going to give it to you free if you sign up for the Hebrew class. It's on the front page of My Astrology Coach. All right? So that's in November 17th and 18th. And then this Thursday coming up, Minister Jew, the Curious Case of Kanye West, an awesome webinar, only $21. TheImaginationGuru.com, shop tab webinars. All right, so anybody got a question? And I got to go upstairs because that was my son's school. And we got to have a conversation today. All right. I'm not sure if you answered this. Are there any alignments for 2020? Oh, yeah, 2020, man, it's going to be a great one. It's going to be a showdown in Capricorn. Oh, yeah. May happen in 19. For real, for real. We're talking about Saturn. We're talking about Jupiter. And we're talking about Pluto. All aligned in Capricorn. We are going to see some type of major transformation take place inside of government. Especially if Trump wins the second one. You're either going to be salty, or there's going to be a, pretty much Kanye West going to get the job done. And you're going to see a new wave of energy and a new wave of transformation and whatnot. And that's what you better pray for, because we ain't built for no civil war, any woe of any type on this soil. We don't want that problem. Trust me. You can't even fix the water in Flint. Goddamn hurricane come, and we don't even have the common decency to have our own transportation systems and housing systems in play. We always rely on, ain't there some shit? I just thought about this shit. Yo, the FEMA camp's gonna lock us up. The FEMA camp's gonna lock us up. First of all, FEMA camps ain't locking nobody the fuck up. Let's be real on that. Second of all, hey, when your people was displaced from the hurricanes, I think the FEMA option was a much better option than what they was having when they didn't have no water facilities in the Superdome and people were dying and we sitting back not in a position to aid and assist, man. We got to cut it out, man. We got to cut it out. All right. So 2020 is a major transformational year as it pertains to government. And personally, it's supposed to be, the universal player that is your career and your own success. What you gonna do? You know what I mean? Are you gonna break out in the big way? That's the universal energy. All right. All right. So anybody else got a question? I'll take one more. I went through a past, one of my most profound healing journeys I experienced. Wow, that's dope. I've been through a past life regression joint. Yeah, just, cut your losses, man. Just cut your losses. I had some things going on. I'm like, boy, I really want to motherfucking fire somebody up. But I said, I ain't going to do it because I don't want to keep the pendulum going. So I had to relate. Like, the same thing I'm mad about, have I ever done something that's identical or the exact same thing? And I have. The actual thing that's involved was the exact same thing I did years ago. And I'm like, shit, I do remember that. God, shit, let me let that go. Can't even be mad. And I really ain't mad because the person in this lifetime right now with my situation is a striking resemblance of the person from the previous aspect where I was the victor. I mean, you're the victor in it. And I'm like, damn, this thing is a beautiful cosmic mirror. Lesson learned. That's why when somebody remind me of somebody that I don't really vibe with, I don't care. I ain't even really trying to vibe with them. Judge a book by its cover all you want to. Yup. Because the energy is a twin mirror energy for a purpose. Trust me. It's there for a reason. You're supposed to learn that lesson. You can't be like, oh, you remind me so much of such and such. Okay, just give it some time and watch that same shit pop out. Especially since you think that that's who they are, then you really start to aid in that process. You got to learn those lessons. So no resemblance, please. Sorry, no resemblance. I learned that lesson. So the best way to turn negative energy into positive energy, man. So it really depends on what the case is. You want to go to the extreme end. Right? So, you know, your women, your man getting on your nerve or whatever, get naked. Men, you in the middle of a fight, just get naked. Can't nobody argue naked. You shouldn't. You're crazy if you do. Right? Like, you got to go to the extreme end. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to. So, in my Astro membership, right, I'll outline something that'll be like, hey, you have to balance your relationship energy. Now, I'm saying this for either two reasons. I see some friction that's about to come, and you need to do it. Or it's really a good alignment that says, yo, this is an excellent time for you to show appreciation. So let's take the case that it's a negative situation, right? And I say like, oh shit, there's about to be some pressure in relationships. You have to get ahead of that and utilize that negative timeline and say, hey, we're going out tonight, totally spontaneous. I just want to show some appreciation and show you that I love you. So you have to do things of the opposite nature in order to dissolve that stuff, man. You can't really get past love and appreciation as far as a diffuser goes. But, you know, each thing has its own case and its own weight because of, you know, the issue at hand, whatever that may be. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard to diffuse financial situations in a sense if you're not on the same financial page. This is a money thing. Ain't got nothing to do with emotion and love, although you can use that angle and whatnot. Oh, baby, I've been just doing that because I just want to tell you that I love you and I appreciate you. But I just see, you know what I mean? It's always a meeting of the minds. If it's two people involved that could, you know, alchemize the energy. That's why consciousness is everything. Two people must agree, or should agree, shall we say, and it'd be really easy. If it's you by yourself and it's not depending on what it is, just reverse, work on the opposite expression of the energy that you know you don't want to get into. That's it. Right. So that's a good question. So exactly. So Saturn in your chart shows you where your limitations are, where your fear at, where your, to a degree, where your karma is at, where you got to take responsibility at, and where you will be very successful at if you can iron it out. Saturn represents success. You have to really tap into where that is for you, especially the house placement. If you know the house that Saturn is in, then you have to build upon that particular paradigm right there because it represents the crystallization of form. And so wherever that is, that's where you play the devil at. This is where you rebuke, you shy away from it. It's hard, it's strenuous. You know what I'm saying? It's a pain in the ass. It just is. You know what I'm saying? But if you can endure and find a way to, you know, find that angle of it, of how you can approach it, where it's like that workout of endurance, because Saturn's energy is over time. It's not about a one-hit wonder. It wants you to repeat the process. It's endurance. If you can find a way to endure, you good. All right? You're super good. So understand what Saturn is in the house when you were born. All right? All right, family members, that's what it is, man. Good build, which I appreciate y'all, man. Check out The Imagination Guru, like I said, and Shop Tab webinars this Thursday. Kanye West is up with Minister Jew. then get over to myastrologycoach.com. Join the mailing list if you haven't already. That way you can stay abreast with us and whatnot. Subscribe right here on YouTube. Hit the notification button. Share with a friend. And I'll see y'all later. All right? Peace.